video 23 or 24, might be 24. Feeling a bit tired, a bit wrecked. I think the last video was the storm, which was at a campsite called, I think AMSW, that's AM space SW, and that was between, again, a place I'm probably butchering the name of in Austria called, I think, Bad Aussie or Aussie, and here in Graz. And I couldn't find anywhere else on the direct route any campsite at the 70k mark, which was really irritating. So it was either, I think, push to 100k and then there's loads of campsites outside of Graz, or just push all the way to Graz, or do something stupid like 40, 50k and then have to have another day essentially. So I decided to just push the full 130k. Pretty lucky, like the weather was supposed to, you know, potentially downpour, as was the case that morning and that night. And so I got up. Well, I didn't really sleep, to be fair. So as you saw in the other video, I paid an insane amount for that campsite. It was the biggest scam campsite I've ever been to in my life. So it's mainly for camper vans, but you arrive and there's no staff. It actually has 5 stars of reviews, which is really strange. I guess if you're a camper van, it's fine. But I rocked up on my bicycle. There's no staff there. It's literally just a handful of pictures for people's campers or caravans. Only like 3 of them were taken. And I did notice on the website they said that between 7 and 8 p.m. they arrive for payment. So they literally just knock on everyone's door that's there and they just take payment. And the camping area, the tent area, was literally just the back of the bins. They just put a sign saying like tents, and then it was just a crap bit of land with like bits of gravel and dirt and construction material, and they wanted 16 euros a night for that, which is an absolute joke. Like, you can go to really swanky campsites where there's like theme parks, there's water parks inbuilt, and you'll pay probably about the same, but the regular price for like an independent camping place, if you're just a one person, one night, one tent, is about 12 euros everywhere in Germany and Austria. So anyway, so I was debating whether to stay, but the weather was getting really bad, and then they coincidentally came along and said, "Oh, you're going to stay?" And I was just like, "Fuck it, I'll stay." So I just paid them, set the tent up basically where you recycle the material, where the bins are, because this storm was anticipated. And yeah, the storm just basically started immediately and got really, really bad. So, and the day preceding that, or sorry, the morning preceding that, on the way to this place, it had rained a bit, so my sleeping bag was actually soaked, and I didn't put it in a waterproof bag because I assumed the bag it came in was waterproof, as you'd expect, but it wasn't. So when I unwrapped that, I was just like, oh, fuck this. So they had a nice little block where you've got like a small kitchen and then like some really nice showers and toilets, actually, to be fair to the campsite. Like, it was all really clean and nice. Very new. It looked like one of those COVID projects that just went bankrupt and is being revitalised, as you see a lot now in the hospitality sector. Like, a lot of businesses obviously went under, and they're just running off now what was constructed in that period, or what was left like half built. So yeah, the storm was so bad, like the actual place where the tent was pitched, which was a gravel car park area because I moved it from the actual site as they said I could, was starting to fill with water because the campsite was flooding. So essentially I just ended up going in the shower block with my sleeping bag, which was good in the end because it could dry, just charging all my phones, watching YouTube, and having like a 3-hour nap there. And then at 5:45 I got up because I didn't want other people like seeing me like hanging around in the showers at 5 a.m. So I went back to my tent, packed it all up. It was still a bit wet, and then did the whole 130k, arriving in Graz yesterday at 6 o'clock or 6:15, something like that. And 20k's before Graz I had to have like a break because I was just destroyed, blitzed. And I was saying to a friend, this is with the terrain being flat, so it was pretty much flat and downhill the whole way. It was almost a perfect day. Every stop was pretty efficient, you know, good food, kind of like speedy lunch breaks and kind of drink breaks and all that. Always finding consistent water. So all that kind of stuff, and still it took, I mean, the Google estimation's ludicrous. It estimates that you can get there in 6.5 hours. So I packed up at 5:45, I think I left at 6:45, and then got here at 6:15, so 11 hours and 15 minutes. of pure cycling with only maybe 1 hour and 20 minutes of break. So 10 hours in total of cycling with good speed, irrespective of the weight on the bike. And that's still 4 hours over Google's estimation, because Google just runs off of their analytics. Like they take standard cyclists who aren't packing and are usually on racing bikes. So people that, you see it everywhere in Europe, people are they think they're on the Tour de France and they're like cycling to work at 100 kilometers an hour. And they take that average, and that's how they issue you the estimation for how to get from A to B on a cycle trail. So it's so different to walking. Like usually if you put in a walking estimate, it's the opposite for me because I'm taller. So I can usually walk faster than the average person. I walk fast anyway. So I can usually gain maybe 15-20% off of Google's average. Whereas with the cycling, it's usually double. I need double whatever Google estimates, which is very irritating. So yeah, that was the gist. And then, yes, like I said, arrived 6:15, and there's so many problems with the bike now. So first problem with the bike, among many, is the panniers. So one of the pannier zips were broken, which means that the weight was pulling on the bottom right side, and it was dragging the spoke. It was catching on the spokes. So one of the spokes has snapped. One of the spokes is loose, and there's probably more. I haven't properly checked. So that's a problem, though. That's actually been happening for a while. It's just I've been too lazy to sort it out. However, yesterday the bike's starting to make just ridiculously loud noises, and I haven't checked this properly. It could be a very simple fix, which is oil, because I haven't oiled the chain at all. The chain has been oiled once by a guy in the bike shop, but only a little bit. It hasn't really been properly oiled, and it's been through like a lot of gravel and dirt and stuff like that. So I'm hoping that that's the noise, because it's difficult when you cycle to pinpoint it, and even if you drag the bike along, I still can't pinpoint what the noise is. I'm going to cut the broken spoke out, then I'm going to oil the chain. And if it's not that, then it's probably the other thing, which the guy in Karlsruhe said, which was that the bearings on the... Although actually I don't think it's that either. He said the bearings on the pedals are really bad, which is true. But if you don't pedal, the noise is still there, so it can't be the pedals, because when the pedal mechanism stops, then the noise still persists, which means it has to be something to do with the wheel, i.e. the spoke, the chain, or it could potentially be damage from me not maintaining the bike and having the spoke repaired. So it's one of those things. It doesn't affect the manoeuvring of the bike in any way so far, which is really a good thing, which makes me think it's not the spoke. It could also just be a rattling, something really simple like a rattling screw or something. That's why I need to go through the bike and check it. But the irritating thing is, like, I'm comfortable like proceeding with this bike. Like, it's just the noise is so embarrassing and annoying. It's really loud. It's like a screeching child every time you go through like a little village and your bike is like it's so embarrassing. So that's what needs to be done today. I arrived in Graz last night. I booked 2 nights because originally I booked tonight thinking it would take me an extra day to get here, but with that 130k blitz and a day early, then I get an extra day rest, which is quite good. Health-wise, knees are starting to feel a little bit painful. Again, I think that's pretty normal. You get the same with running or any sport. It's been like 3 weeks straight with only 2 one-day breaks. So 2 day breaks, sorry. 2 days of break. There we go. And so, yeah, I'm hoping it's down to that, even though I've been told the frame's a little bit small. I don't really think it's that. And yeah, muscles are fine pretty much, and everything's good. So plan for tomorrow, assuming the bike is fixed either by myself or by a shop, is to probably go... I've got to get to Osijek in Croatia, but there's 2 routes that you can take because the frontier between Hungary and Croatia is basically right on the direct line to Istanbul. Again, Google's estimation for that. So I might swerve in and out of the 2. I thought Hungary would be more interesting because it passes through a national park and it's cheaper in Hungary as well. And that part of Hungary isn't that well populated. It's not, you know, where Budapest and Debrecen and the kind of bigger hubs are, so it'll be interesting to do that. Plus I'm not really a fan of Croatia, so yeah, we'll see what happens. And from there, that's 100k to the border. So first I'd have to go through Slovenia if I'm taking the Croatia route, stop in Maribor, which is fine, and then proceed either on the Hungarian side or the Croatian side. And then it's looking as though the Istanbul arrival date will be, assuming I maintain the distance, which is now averaging at 72 k's a day, excluding the 2 0-kilometre days, which were rest days, and one tomorrow, or today rather. That's a 72k average, and that's increasing mainly because obviously the first couple of days I was getting used to the bike. There was a little bit more weight on the bike, and in addition to that, I had the flat tyre scenario for quite a long time. Since it was tuned, it's been better until now. So yeah, I expect the average to keep going up. So 3 weeks until Istanbul, and then from Istanbul, and yeah, looking forward. That's the best part of the trip. That's the real start of the trip, all the way to Iran. And we'll see if I can get the visa in Istanbul, or if I have to go to Yerevan and Armenia to get it. But yeah, until then everything's fine-ish, and yeah, I'll post another video as soon as possible.